I'm Simone Karalison. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa, but my environmental work's based in the Northwest Province in Mafeking. And I really never knew about climate change. Climate change was something that was stated in my textbook. I had to write exams about it. I closed the textbook and off I went. It was something far off in a book, overseas. It didn't touch my life anyhow. And in 2009, the British Council came to my school and asked us to write an essay about how to improve your environment. Not knowing anything about climate change, all I knew was that I had a passion for writing. And the teachers at my school knew that I always entered the essay writing competition, and they asked me, don't I want to write this essay? And I was like, okay, fine. I don't have anything else to do because the community I live in doesn't really give kids constructive things to do with their time. And this is what motivated me to take leadership in my community. So I wrote the essay and it turned out to be the best in the province. And I was invited as one of 27 finalists from around South Africa to Johannesburg to present this essay and turn it into a proposal in front of a panel of judges. And herefrom, I was selected as one of 10 international climate change champions for South Africa. And I was afforded the opportunity to turn this proposal into an actual project. And you know, when you get involved, you have these big 4 ideas that you think are going to be super awesome and everyone's going to support you, you're going to get the money to do so. And along the way you find that, you know, you're alone in this. People don't know about what you're doing and you have to rally support for the cause that you're involved in. So the challenge for me was presenting this proposal to my school and to my friends and to the community. And where I'm from, as I say, the kids really have nothing to do, and teenage pregnancy is a big problem, drug and alcohol abuse, there's big high levels of this, and even gangsterism. And Mafeking, if there are any South Africans here, is a really littered little town. There's litter everywhere. The open parks that are supposed to be recreational facilities for young people are turned into illegal dump sites. And the kids have nothing to do with their time. There's no cinema, and this really upset me. And I felt that I've always been an old soul at heart, and I've always believed that I had the power to effect change. So I was like, okay, you know what? I might not have the support in the beginning, but I'm going to see how far I can get to this. So I started a Green Society in my school, and it consisted of 10 people. They were all my friends. Everyone thought I was mad, you know, to get involved with climate change and environmental awareness and education. And even from my family, I come from a family of, my brother's an attorney, my sister's a third-year chemical engineering student, and here I come along, the hippie tree hugger. I don't want to go to university, I want to volunteer, you know. So I really haven't had support in that sense, but in between, I started this Green Society, and we've gone out into the community with little flyers and green balloons, just on a basic level communicating what climate change is and environmental issues in a simple way to the community, not using these big complicated terms that kids don't understand. And I was actually called by the British Council in 2009 after having started my environmental work to go to COP15 in Copenhagen. Now, this is something big for a South African and an African, because you never really think you will be afforded the opportunity to go overseas, because, I mean, we are really in a disadvantaged position financially, and I was so ecstatic, you know, and therefrom I went over to Copenhagen, and I think for all of us, we all had that one aha moment that inspired us and has driven us to carry on in the work that we've done. So coming from a community and household that I really haven't had that much support for, they haven't understood where I'm coming from and why I'm doing what I'm doing, meeting young people at COP15 was that aha moment for me. Seeing how they have come from various corners of the earth, but share the same frustration and share the same vision and passion to carry on in the work that they're doing. that inspired me beyond, and I took home that energy with me. And I was like, you know what, I'm not going to let this affect me. So I went to my local government. I'm fortunate enough to have the local government departments within walking distance from my school. But Mafeking is a really hot place, and I would have to walk over after school, and I would get blisters on my feet. I went to the local Department of Environmental Affairs, and I was like, you know, I'm representing your province at COP15, I've represented your province, and I started this Green Society at my school, and the kids really don't know about climate change. Would you be willing to come to my school and present workshops or talks about it? And they were really supportive with this. They sponsored us with t-shirts, and they got speakers and pamphlets and flyers and posters that we put up around our school. So that was on a small scale. And in between, I've been working with young people from across South Africa, from across Africa. I've really built up a good network of organizations and young people. And most recently, I've been involved with school children from Durban, and I've told them that the most fulfilled I felt was working with them in the past few days over this 3-year period. For me, I've realized that business and government will make empty promises. It will be all good and well now, but when you go back to your community, you're really alone. And the most change that you are going to get is from networking with other young people that have been through it, that have faced the same challenges as you. And you'll be surprised how collective action can spur change. So I've been working with an organization called the Blue Buck Network, and it's a Southern African organization that connects young people, environmentalists that are have the vision of starting green projects in the community, and or environmentalists that already have green projects, and this just acts as a network to connect these people with the resources that have already been tried and tested. And also most recently in August, I had the opportunity to work with Project 90 by 2030. And what they did was host a youth forum that extended over a period of 2 months. We were 20 young environmental leaders from across South Africa, and we just explored how personal stories and how emotion can affect change rather than statistics. And I gained so much. We had the opportunity to speak to local government, some of the head negotiators, business, and civil society. And I watched these people transform, hearing our personal stories in the space of 2 days. In the beginning, I saw them walking in with their neat suits, with their own agendas, with their corporate mindsets. And I can honestly say when they left, after attaching a face, after attaching emotion to climate change and environmental work, they were honestly changed people. And that's why I think it's so important to give young people a voice in big conferences like this, because ultimately it's us that affect change in our communities. We're the ones working at grassroots level. It's not government and business. And so what I'm advocating is more conversation between government and our grassroots level organizations, because how are you able to implement practical policy when you don't know what's going on the ground? So that's some of the stuff that I've been working on. And as I was telling you about these kids in Durban, they have blown my mind. The projects they're involved in, the work that they've done over the space of 1 year is more than I've achieved in like 3 years. And that's where I gain my motivation and inspiration and support from other young people that come from hard backgrounds, from challenges. That's where I get my motivation. And it was so fulfilling for me speaking to these 9 to 16-year-old kids. I was asking them what they wanted to be, and this one 9-year-old went, well, if being a lawyer doesn't work out, I want to be a doctor. We'll see how that plays out. And that just moved me so much, you know, that these kids aren't affected by their surroundings or by the decisions adults are making for them. They still have hopes and aspirations. So I try and inspire them, I try and motivate them, and it's encouraging to see that they still have hope.
Thank you, Simon. It's great the fact that you can propose a great idea like in your essay, and then you got support, you receive support to implement your idea to become a project, an action project.